not necessarily about like what you give up. Maybe it's your conviction.
It's the conviction.
You feel like this thing has way more control over your life than you do. So that's when you need to back away from it. And it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm giving up, blah, blah, blah. I ain't doing this no more. I ain't indulging in none of that no more. Sometimes, like, God put that stuff in your life so you can see who you need to be leaning on in the first place. Because when we get to leaning on the outside stuff, the stuff that's outside of us, that's when we end up in that point of conviction. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to tell you, I be like when I had went without drinking or whatever for that, like a month, like I said, like a month. It was probably like 40 days, 45 days I went without drinking liquor. When I started back drinking, I feel like it was fine until people started questioning me, like, and they were just asking like, oh, you back drinking, you know, like, or asking like, you know, oh, you started back drinking, or you still not drinking? And in those moments right there, that's when I felt like, I just felt the way. I don't know.
Did you feel pressure or?
Not pressure, almost as like I cared about them or cared about what they thought, like, oh, she back drinking, she didn't do it for that long, or, you know, like, just thinking about, caring about what other people
Judgment.
Yeah, maybe judging.
Like, oh,
but it wasn't for that. I didn't stop drinking liquor to stop completely drinking it. I did like a fast, you know, but it was personally for me. And I felt like I didn't have to explain that to nobody, you know, it was just for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know how, like, I feel like most times we feel like we have to over-explain to people, and that's my problem. I be feeling like I gotta tell everybody what's going on, because if they think a certain thing about me, I don't want them to think a certain way. But at the end of the day, I just gotta say, like, fuck what they think. Like, what is for you is for you. Keep that between you and God. That's all that matters.
And honestly, when you're around people that's judging you for the things that you do or don't do, they just not for you. I had a friend that I didn't feel comfortable around. And I always felt like they were judging me. Because I'm just this free spirit. I do whatever the fuck I want to do.
Right.
But she ain't like that at all.
Right.
And she's like on this newfound walk with God and stuff, which I completely respect. And that was really like the foundation of our friendship.
Right.
But then as time progressed, it was like as she got closer to God, she started judging me because, well, it felt like she was judging me. Like anything that I did, it was like she kind of had something to say about it. And I was just like, you know, girl, everybody has their own walks with God. And I'm not going to stop being myself just because I'm getting closer to God. Like,
and a true believer would know that, because you don't judge anybody. It says in the Bible, if you judge somebody else, you will be judged.
Okay?
You get what I'm saying?
And
so
I also believe that if you judging other people, you judging yourself.
Yeah, you are.
You don't feel like you can be authentic, so you judging other people for being authentic.
Like, I've had difficulties with that, because I'm just like, okay, just because I'm in this walk doesn't mean somebody else is going to be in the same walk at the same time with me. You got to accept people for where they are in their own journey.
Okay.
You know, and if you feel like they come around you disturbing you, then just don't deal with it. You know, you don't have to deal with certain people, but you don't judge people, put them down, or verbalize things to make them feel like you think you're better than them, because you're not better than nobody. Like, no matter where you are in life, you're not inferior to nobody, right? But you're not superior to anybody.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Got that. Because, honey, I'm going to still do what I want, but God knows my heart, and that be the thing. Like, I'm not out here judging nobody, because I know I ain't perfect. I am not perfect, honey, and I do not pretend to be. Now, I used to feel like I had to be perfect, when deep down inside I knew I wasn't.
Right.
I felt like I had to put on this image, like, oh, if I do this, then, you know. But I think it also stems from, like,
and that's
childhood.
not people pleasing too.
Yeah, people pleasing. Yep. Childhood bullying, because I never could be myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, I have to be who people want me to be so I can fit in, so I can be liked.
We're not doing that, baby.
Never again.
Yeah.
Okay?
No.